Hope you had a wonderful, great Thanksgiving weekend. So today is going to be a little bit different from our normal webinars that we do. Today, I really want this to be more interactive. And I think this is how we'll gain the most amount of knowledge from our time spent tonight. So I'm asking you, if you're at home, if you're in front of a computer, if you're on your phone, grab a notebook, grab a pen. I will ask questions. I want you to either jot it down, reflect on it afterwards. After we're done tonight, I want you to do a lot of reflection about it as you set goals for the new year. But I also want you to use the chat, and just like the more you voice it, the more you communicate, the more you talk about it, the more it comes to life. So use the chat, just say some of the things I ask you. And then we can take it from there. So, and another thing, please ask questions throughout. If there's anything that you're confused about that doesn't make sense, I will interact with the chat today as we go. And then at the end, I'll review if there's anything that I missed at all. So let me take a second to introduce myself. My name is Nkem Ezeamama. I'm an ER physician, and I'm also the founder and CEO of Phoenix Capital Investment. And our goal is to really help busy professionals in and out of the healthcare space grow wealth through real estate. So years ago, I was lost. I felt like I was failing at life, and I knew that things had to change. And so I made the decision to start changing parts of my life that I was really unhappy with. I didn't know it then, but I was starting to use the exact same framework to improve my life that I'm going to be sharing with you today. And I have seen massive success through it, and I'm hoping that it will be very impactful in your life. So, as we gather today at the start of December in preparation for 2025, I want you to think about something really powerful. What if I told you that the biggest obstacle to your transformation is not time, it's not money, it's not knowledge? It's that you have been asking yourself the wrong question entirely. So you see, like many of you, I once sat exactly where you are. As an ER physician, like I said, I knew what it meant to work hard, and I knew what it meant to have really big dreams and like to wonder, is there something more? I had, all the traditional markers of what success looked like, but like I really felt like something was missing. Let me share with you something really fascinating about transformation. When you decide to go on this path, when you decide to go on this journey. And when I first decided to build something that was bigger than myself, I didn't start with trying to figure out what I needed to do. Instead, I asked myself, who do I need to become? And that's a question that changed everything. And so in the next 60 minutes or so, we're going to discover exactly how to engineer inevitable success. And you will hear me say that over and over and over again, because I do think that it is possible. And it's not through motivation, it's not through hoorah, it's not through willpower, but it's through a proving framework that just makes transformation automatic. So think about where you want to be in December 2025. I want you to hold that vision in your mind right now. Whatever that looks like, I want you to just like tap into that and create that picture. And today, let me just get this clear. And let me just tell you that today is not about setting another resolution that's going to fade away by February. It's about designing a system that makes success inevitable. Okay, I want to share something with you that might surprise you. Every January, which is around the corner, millions of people, they set goals. And 88% of them, 88% of those like New Year's resolution, they fail by February 15th. That's like a month and a half later. But that's not only what's fascinating. It's not because people don't want it badly, because people want to lose weight. They want to build their business. They want to run a marathon. And it's not because they're not capable, it's because they are. But the reason why transformations fail is because people are focusing on the what instead of focusing on the who. And I discovered that truth in my own journey, and I will share snippets of my life where I've seen transformation really happen. And for me, it started with losing 70 pounds of weight. It started with, running a full marathon without having a zero running background. And it also was a dream of building something that was beyond working an ER shift. But the transformation wasn't about what I needed to do. It was about who I needed to become. And I want you to be honest with yourself. Like when these goals, when these goals that we don't achieve or we don't meet, when they fail, what are they costing us? You will learn that it's really not about the goal itself, but it's about, the promotion that you never got because you didn't develop that skill, and that skill was part of the goals you set for yourself. Or it's the health that you never achieved because you couldn't stick to that health plan, which was part of your goal, part of your New Year's resolution. It's that business that you never really started because you kept saying, I'll do it someday, I'll do it tomorrow. So if like any of this resonates with you, if you've ever felt that cycle of starting over, I just want you to say yes. If you've ever felt, just toss it in the chat or write it in your notebook if you have it. But if you're like, if you've ever felt like I'm tired of starting over, I keep starting over and over again, and this is the time for change. Yeah, Alice. So yeah, this is the time we're doing it. We are going to start changing, and it's going to start with today. Today, I'm going to show you the exact framework, that framework that makes transformation inevitable. It goes from not just possible to like really accomplishing it. And I want you to know it's really not about willpower, and it's not even about setting better goals, because some of us have like fantastic goals. But in our time together tonight, you'll discover how to make success automatic, not just optional, why systems beat motivation every single time. If you have a system, it will work. And then we'll talk about the 3 elements that really make transformation possible. Again, as we start diving in, I want you to either jot in your notebook or toss it in the chat. What is one area of your life where like you're ready to see change in your life in 2025? What is that one thing that like if you could change it today, that it would change everything? It would change the trajectory of your whole life. What is that one thing? Drop it in the comments. I'm curious to hear. I want to know like what people are hoping, are dreaming about in 2025. Alice says her finances. Yes. And that's where it starts now. It starts with creating exactly the system and the framework that needs to make it happen. And to come back to Alice saying, her finances, if each of these transformations that either you wrote down or you thought about, it follows the exact same framework. So whether it's like building wealth, whether it's reclaiming your health, whether it's creating more time freedom, whether it's passive income, whether it's traveling more, like Amaka just said, the blueprint is like, it's identical. And I want to show you exactly what I mean. When I was building Phoenix, I discovered something that was really fascinating. And even in the hard, even in the difficult, it was the same framework that I used to help me lose 70 pounds, to help me complete a marathon. That was the same framework that I started to use to build this multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio. And it was the exact same thing. And every single successful transformation, without fail, it has these 3 essential elements in it. And if you miss any one of them, the entire thing kind of falls apart. And I want to share this with you, and I call it the transformation triangle. Most people will focus on goals, they'll focus on motivation, but transformation, it happens at a deeper level. And it's these three parts that make up the triangle. The first one is your identity, who you become in the process of achieving your goals. It's your systems, what you do automatically every time, over and over again. And it's your environment, who surrounds you, what surrounds you. This is the actual transformation triangle that will help you start achieving your goals. So if you're ready, I want you to just type ready in the chat. If you're ready to like start understanding how this works and start applying it, I am excited to like start sharing it with you. And Colin said, building multiple streams of passive revenue so that I can cut back on the slave labor of bedside medicine. Yes. My finances, completing 3 projects, absolutely. Reclaiming my health, for sure. I'm building finances. I love that. Yes. I love all the readies. So I want to make this real. When I first started trying to lose weight, I failed multiple times. When I started even thinking about building Phoenix Capital, I wasn't successful. But it was because at first I tried the traditional approach. But then when I changed and I applied the triangle, I saw success. So instead of losing weight, I changed my identity, and my new identity became, I am an athlete. I can do hard things. Instead of relying on just like simple motivation, I built a morning workout system. That became my system. And instead of fighting my environment, I designed it for success. So I'll give you an example. Like, I had a hard time going to the gym. So instead of going to the gym, I created a very small, like, garage gym with the bare essentials so that I wouldn't use not going as an excuse anymore. And I went downstairs to my garage and I used my few mats and my weights and I started doing, and I built from there. And your environment can also be people. So who are you surrounding yourself with? Who is lifting you up? So I shared with you the transformation triangle, which is made up of the identity you need to take on, the systems, the automatic systems that need to go in place, and your environment. If you had to think right now, what is missing? What's the missing piece right now in your triangle? Is it identity? Is it identity? Is it systems? Or is it your environment? What is missing? Toss it in the chat or write it in your notebook, wherever. I just want you to be thinking about that and come back to that. So when most people are trying to transform their lives, right, they say, what do I need to do? But the real question is, who do I need to become? One of my mentors, Tony Robbins, says, and I quote, he says, the strongest force in the human personality is the need to stay consistent with how we define ourselves. So attaching I am to anything and doing it consistently and with emotional intensity will create belief. That is creating your new identity in whatever goal that you're setting. Think about something really fascinating. When was the last time someone had to remind you to brush your teeth, right? You don't need motivation to brush your teeth in the morning. You don't want bad breath. You don't want awful teeth. You don't need willpower. You just do it because that's who you are. In essence, it's part of your identity. So I shifted from saying, I want to build wealth, to start seeing myself as an investor. That's when everything changed. I started seeing every financial decision that was filtered through that lens of, I am an investor. I wasn't trying to become successful anymore. I wasn't simply acting. That's exactly what I was doing. I was acting in alignment with who I wanted to become. It was all about the who. So remember how I told you, grab your pen, grab your notebook, toss, or use the chat. I'll give you like a second to just grab it. But as you're sitting down and you're thinking, what is one of the biggest goals that you have for 2025? Whatever that goal is, instead of saying, I think Amaka said passive income. Instead of saying, I want to make more passive income, why don't you change that I want to I am? And whether it's I'm wealthy, whether it is I'm an investor, whether it is I'm a wealth builder, whatever you want to change that to, but change that to that. So another example is like, instead of I want to build a business next year, why don't you say I'm an entrepreneur? That is how you start changing it. That's how you start claiming that identity, And so take 30 seconds or take less, write down what this new identity is. I am, I will, I agree. And this is where I wanted to get really powerful, right? Look at what you wrote down or look at what you thought. That person that you just described, what would you do? What would that person do first thing tomorrow? What decisions would that person make? How would that person show up in their life? How would they spend their time? That's how you start thinking. And Faith said, I am healthy and wealthy and empower others to do the same. I agree. But this is where a lot of people get stuck. They rely on motivation to drive all these new behaviors. But like, ladies and gentlemen, there is a better way. And Javen said, I am becoming a successful entrepreneur who's going to change the world for the better. Completely agree. And as you're starting to create your I ams, do you know that 95% of your daily actions are completely automatic? Like, that means right now, most of what you did today was decided a long time ago by the systems that you had in place at that time. So think about that. Like, who you are today was already decided 5-10 years ago. Like, your morning routine, what you do, that's a system. Your spending habits, all of you who spent a ton Black Friday, those are systems. Your health choices, those are systems. And that's how powerful systems are. If you decide today that I'm going to improve 1% every day, that's it, just 1%, something small, something tiny. By the end of the year, you will be 37 times better. That's not 365% better. That is 37,000 times better. That is how crucial it is to create systems and to take one step every day. What's also fascinating about this, you guys need to know this, is that the truth is the same in reverse. So if you get 1% worse every day, by the end of the year, you'll be nearly at zero. So why don't we choose to start growing every day? Why don't we choose to start following our dreams and building systems that actually work? If you're thinking it's just math, I want to show you really how this can play out in real life. You know, when I started investing in real estate, when I built Phoenix, I didn't try to analyze 100 deals in one day, but instead I built a system and I started to analyze one deal every day. And then when I had a day that I wasn't working, I did two. And that compound effect, that has led us to analyze over 1,000 deals. We'll hit over 1,000 by the end of this year. It's these systems that make it inevitable, that make success. Like, you have no way but to be successful. As I'm talking and as I'm giving you examples, I want you to be thinking, how can this apply to me? How can I create a system that makes success inevitable? What do I need to do? So just like as you're writing down, I really want everyone, if you're not driving, grab that notebook, start writing, just start dreaming, start thinking, and then figure out how we can make this reality today. You know what fascinates me about the environment? It's this like invisible force behind every single action that we take. So think about it, like if you walk into an operating room, if you're in the healthcare field, you all of a sudden, you naturally become focused and you become precise because you know that lives are at stake. Or when you walk into a library, right? The tone of your voice decreases. You're more intent. You're like, I'm going there to do work. I'm going there to study. Or better yet, you and your neighbor bestie, you decide to lose weight together and you decide to show up at the gym at 6:30 Monday through Friday. That is the environment. That's not willpower. That is your environment. And I want to show you tonight how to design your environment so that success becomes a path of least resistance. So as you think about your new identity, as you think about your new systems, what is one thing in your environment right now that's either supporting you or that's sabotaging you? Toss it in the chat, toss it in your notebook. But what's one thing? It might not be a what, it might be a who. Who is the person who's either supporting you, your accountability partner, or who's bringing you down? So I want to show you how these three elements work together. So when you align your identity, when you create the systems, automatic, simple systems, and you fix your environment, transformation is bound to happen. I go back to the examples that I've used, that I've implemented in my life. When I built Phoenix, when I decided to run a marathon, I took on the identity that I'm an athlete. I could do hard things. I created a morning workout routine. I built a home gym, a prep station, and the results were there. I wasn't looking at the end goal, but it was the steps that I was taking every day. And it wasn't through motivation, because motivation dies sometimes, but it was through aligning myself with the person who can become, who can run a real estate investment firm, who can, get in shape. That is who I started becoming when I started aligning myself with that. What area of your life could benefit from this triangle right now? Is it wealth? Is it family? Is it a specific relationship? Is it health? Is it business? Where do you need to implement the transformation triangle today? Where do you need to create your own triangle? Do that right now. Put it on paper, put it in the chat. I want you to think about it, type it in your phone, create a vision board, write it on a sheet of paper, put it by your desk. But where does this transformation triangle where do you need to implement it in your life? And she said action, taking action on the things that I want instead of kicking it down the road. I agree. So I want to talk about something powerful, the difference between setting a goal and creating an identity. Because when you shift from who you are, the what naturally follows. So like, and an example I can think of, because I'm in the healthcare space, is the difference between a smoker and a non-smoker. A smoker is someone who wants to quit. So his goal is to try to quit. But a non-smoker is someone who doesn't smoke. That is his new identity. It's that same action, but it's a completely different driver. I want you to just pause and think about that, because The actions that you take are what creates the result. The identity you create is what drives your action to then create the result. That's how important it is in really deciding who you want to become. So that, like, look at just how that little shift changed everything. Instead of struggling to do something, you simply become the person who naturally does these things. Like the example I used before with a smoker, who is trying to quit smoking as a goal versus the non-smoker who simply says, I don't smoke anymore. I'm not a smoker. My new identity is that I don't smoke. And I use that same principle, when I shifted from wanting to build wealth to seeing myself as an investor. Every single financial decision that I made became filtered through that new identity. I started becoming the woman who can help others grow wealth. I started becoming the woman who could encourage, who could teach, who could empower others, that we can build wealth together. We can buy apartment complexes and grow wealth, even while still working our 9 to 5. So what identity do you need to take on to naturally achieve your biggest goals? Like, whatever that goal is, whatever you're thinking, you're not sure, like, who do you need to become? What step do you need to take that will just naturally position you to become the person that can achieve those goals? I want it to become very practical. So you have declared your new identity, whatever that is, and Antonia said, I published my first book ever in October. Yay. So like her new identity is like, she's a writer, and she did that and she took that step. Think about the bridge behaviors, the small actions that you need to take to build the belief in this new identity. I want you to just pause and just like write it down. Create that right now. What is that small action that you can use as a system that will reinforce your new identity? So you are, your new identity for Antonia, her new identity was that she's a writer. And with that, she decided to publish her first book and she started writing. Maybe that meant that she woke up every day and spent 30 minutes writing a day. Maybe that's what that looked like. Maybe that was her system that she needed, but write it down. Write down the small practical action that you are going to take to reinforce your new identity today. And when you start reinforcing that new identity, it is built through a clear sequence, because it is practice. When you start practicing, practice will create evidence. Evidence will build the belief. Your belief will shape your identity, and that identity will drive your result. And the key is to start with small practices that will create quick evidence. So like, you don't have to say, today I'm going to run a marathon. Why don't you say, you know what? I'm a runner. Today I'm going to start with a couch to 5K app, where I go from sitting on my couch to running a 5K. And your big goal might be a marathon, but gosh, what if you sign up and you complete a 5K? Let's say it's December right now, and you're like, maybe in February in Nashville, we have the hot chocolate 5K. You finish running, they give you hot chocolate. But what if you sign up for that 5K in February? And then that will give you the belief that you can then turn. When you have that belief, then you can turn that into creating that identity that, yes, I'm a runner, man. I did this. I can do more. And then it'll bolster the result that you want, whether it's a half marathon or full marathon that you want to accomplish. That's what that looks like. It's the sequence is very clear. It's practice that creates evidence. Evidence creates belief. Belief creates identity, and your identity is what drives your result. I asked it before, I'm going to say it again. What is one small practice that if you started to do today that would support your new identity? Toss it in the chat. If there's something that comes to mind, if there's something tiny, if there's something simple, if you are saying, I want to read more, that could look like reading 20 minutes every day. What is that one small practice that if you did start today, that would create your new identity? So I spent a chunk of time in identity because it's very important. And now I want to show you something that might really surprise you about systems. The most effective systems in the world, they don't rely on motivation. They don't rely on willpower. They rely on making the right thing easy and automatic and the wrong thing hard. I want that to sink in. So when you start creating your systems, I want you to start making the right things easy and the wrong things hard. And so that looks like, motivation might help you start the journey, but the systems are what will help you finish it. That's how you have to start thinking when you want to start creating the systems that will take you to the next level. So pull out your phone right now. And if you're using your phone for this masterclass, look at it later. But what is on your home screen? All those apps that are on your home screen, they didn't get there by accident. They're there because someone designed that system to capture your attention. So like your apps get you closer to your bank account, maybe to spend more. It gets you closer to your email. It gets you closer to your social media apps. And all of that is to capture your attention. That's what that app was created for. So imagine if we use that same power, that same thought process to engineer your own success by creating systems that could really work for you. And like, so like she said, write and read 30 minutes a day. Javan said, learn accounting 15 minutes every day for my business. I love that. Donna said, applying for the master's in clinical research, completing my literature searches. That is it. So those are the small goals that you can start. Those are small systems that you can start doing every day to get you to building your business, to get you to reading, to get you to completing your literature searches. Just that. Those are the small actions that in the form of systems that can create extraordinary results. If health is a big goal for you, and maybe you're like, I want to drink more water, and that's the result. Could you fill up a glass of water at night before you go to bed and put it by your bedside so in the morning you wake up and drink? Yeah. Could you purchase one of those like inexpensive water bottles that have like all those marks with inspirational quotes so that you can drink 100 mLs to get you to a gallon? Those are systems. Those are systems that you're putting in place now to get you closer to your goal. So as you start thinking, what small system can I create today? It doesn't have to be extravagant. That's where we lose sight because we think it has to be big and magical, but it just needs to be really small. So how do we make success automatic, right? With every successful system, it has three parts. The trigger, so what starts it, the routine, what drives it, and then the reward, which is what reinforces it. Think about this as you're trying to build yours. It's the trigger, the routine, and then the reward. That's how it goes. So I keep telling you that it's not massive. And so what does this look like in real life, right? It's those small strategic actions that compound over time. I think Amaka talked about writing. So if you, or she talked about reading. If your goal is to read 24 books this year, that looks like 2 books a year, right? 2 books a month. Your systems could look like signing up for an audiobook account. Your systems could look like listening in the car on your way to work, on your way back from the gym, on your way to running errands. You could listen for 20 minutes, or you could dedicate 20 minutes before bedtime to read. That could be an easy system. If your goal is, I want to create more passive income in my life this year, I'm an investor. The systems could be, you could figure out, this month I'm gonna attend 3 webinars on real estate investing or on oil and gas and figure out how to create passive income. And that could be a goal that you set, that could be a system that you create. And so once a week, you pick a webinar, you go attend and you go learn. And then from that, you read about it for 30 minutes. That could be a system that will get you closer to your goal of becoming a passive investor, of starting to get passive income as a means to grow wealth. What are those small actions that you need to be doing every day? And so this is what I call the success stack, right? Instead of relying on motivation, you design your day so that success is natural, success is automatic. I read a book that was called Miracle Morning, and the main part of that book was something dedicated to the Savers principle, SAVERS. And that's a system. Just like that, he created a system on how to supercharge his morning routine, and then he shared that with the world. And it's silence, which is in the morning, praying. You either pray or you meditate or focus breathing. The A stands for affirmation. So a reminder of who you're becoming, your I am statements. Visualization is like when you accomplish your big goal, like, like just thinking about that, think about the journey to get to where you want to go. E is for exercise. That's self-explanatory. R is for reading, and S is for scribing, which is like journaling. That was his principle to supercharge his morning. What is your system? What is the system that you need to create to help you achieve your goal? Build that right now. And you're not going to get, this is a lot of information, and you're not going to accomplish all of this today, but that's okay. Jot down one thing, one idea that comes to you, one plan that you are going to implement today. So now that you have the success system, how do we make it a no-brainer? And that's where your environment comes in. Your environment will either sabotage you, it'll either sabotage your system, or it'll make it automatic. I use the example of walking into an operating room earlier because you become naturally focused and precise. That is not willpower, that's environmental design. What does your environment look like? Is it helping you? Is it hindering you? Is it hurting you? Is it helping you excel? Most people will try to use similar willpower to change their lives, but the truth is, it will fail every single time. Okay, maybe not every single time. Maybe willpower will get you 15% of the way, but it will then fail. And that's because you don't know this, but like your environment is quietly shaping every decision that you make, every action that you take. And I protect my environment at every cost. So that means like what's feeding me, what am I listening to, who am I interacting with, who's in my network. All of those things are part of really like protecting your environment, because you don't realize it, but it really plays a big role in who you are. And when I finally figured this out, everything changed. So when I first started building Phoenix, right, instead of me trying to force myself to study real estate after working a long ER shift, I just created an environment that made it possible not to study. And so my success, it was not optional, it became a no-brainer. I searched out accountability partners who were on the same mission that I was, to increase my chances of success. And I then intentionally created a network of the people who were on the same path, who had the same vision, the same goals as me. And you know that saying that your network is your net worth? It is 100% accurate. As you sit down and you're listening today, who and what is in your environment? Who's making things better? Who is bringing you down? Who do you need to add? And who do you need to subtract? And what? Who and what? Those are things that you need to be thinking about. Something powerful about when you start thinking about designing your environment, right? You have to realize that this aspect of it is very, very important. When I told myself I was going to lose weight, when I was like, I'm going to lose 70 pounds, at some point, it wasn't through motivation. I just made simple, healthy choices. I made those choices easy. I made them obvious, and I made them very automatic. The unhealthy choices, they became hard. They became hidden. They required effort. So it no longer became about willpower, right? It became about designing a space, your environment, where success becomes a path of least resistance, and where excellence is inevitable. It's gonna happen. So you want to make success easy, you want to make it obvious, you want to make it automatic. As you're thinking about creating your transformation triangle, and just as equally as you want to make success easy, you want to make failure hard, you want to make it hidden, you want to make it require effort, so that your chances of succeeding are through the roof. Think about your biggest goal for 2025. Think about that goal that you're like, if I accomplish this, like 2025 is check, done, sealed, delivered. What if achieving that goal could be as automatic as brushing your teeth again? That's what I want you to think about creating. That's what we're going to work on tonight. That's what we're starting to work on. And first of all, it's creating the foundation and the mindset to be able to accomplish these goals. So back to environment, right? I want to help you think through a situation or scenario that just shows you how powerful it is. So think about a casino, right? Nothing in that environment is accidental. So think about Vegas, lights, party, action. When you walk into a casino, there are no clocks on the wall. And there are no clocks on the wall because then you don't know that you've spent hours in there. You know, you don't need to be reminded that it's lunchtime, dinner time. You're just there. There are also no windows to see outside. So you don't know if it's sunshine outside. You don't know if like you don't know what you're missing outside because you don't have any windows. You're just in there, and then they bring a ton of free drinks to you. So you don't have to spend any money. The only money you spend is in like is gambling or whatever it is that you're doing, like, playing blackjacks or any other. Clearly I'm not a big I'm not a big I don't do a ton in the casinos, but so it's like whatever that is for you, like that's what that looks like, right? And also it's a maze. That means that like you don't have an exit. The exits are very far away so that they keep you inside. Think about that. Like at a casino, they have engineered this environment that makes spending money so easy. It makes it very obvious and it makes it very automatic. And they make not doing that so hard. And now just imagine if you spent the same time, effort, and the same power to engineer your success. Right now oh, see, Devin said IKEA is a good maze. That's another thing. It's like they keep you in there, you're gonna spend. But right now, the environment that you have is perfectly designed for where you are in life and to produce the results that you're currently getting. And if you're not satisfied, if you're not happy with that and you want different results, then design a different environment. It's that simple. If you had to think about one space in your life that needs to be redesigned for success, what would that be? Is it an aspect of work? Is it like personal development where you need to design that aspect of your life to grow deeper in certain subjects? In your notebook, in the chat, what is that one space that you need to redesign for true success? Now that we have, Donna said her bedroom, great. And you can help create that space to be something that really empowers, that really, that really pushes you to become the best you. And so now that we've identified the success triggers, I want to show you why some people struggle with even the best of triggers in place, right? And sometimes, and I hinted at this, it's not about what you add, it's about what or who you need to remove. The thing that's like fascinating about human behavior that I've learned is that we don't actually get to choose, like we don't choose the path of highest reward. The way we work and the way we function is we choose the path of least resistance. So, let that sink in. Like we want to choose the path of like highest reward, but really we choose the path of least resistance. When I decided I wanted to be an athlete, I wanted to run, I kept telling myself I would wake up 5 a.m. to work out. I set all the right triggers. I laid out my workout clothes. I set multiple alarms. But in the beginning, I kept failing. And the reason why I kept failing was because my phone was right next to my bed. And the path of least resistance for me was like, I just hit snooze every single time. One day, I kid you not, guys, I moved my phone from my bedroom to my living room on the days that I knew that I needed to wake up to go work out. And that was the day that like everything changed because I had to stand up every single time to turn off that alarm. And by the time I was up and I opened the door and I went to the living room, I was ready to go. And that's what that looked like. That is where you start removing anything that is not helping you succeed. What is creating friction? What do you need to remove? You have the triggers in place. Now just take away the friction. Instead of relying on discipline, which some of us are super disciplined, why don't you just design it for success? Decide what you want to do, decide your goal, decide your identity, decide your systems, and then decide your environment, and then start applying that and start implementing that. So you want to work out in the morning, reduce your friction, get your clothes ready, your shoes out, the path clear, wake up, and then go. You want to stop mindlessly scrolling on your phone this upcoming year, add some friction. Maybe you bury the apps in folders that it takes 3 clicks to find it. And maybe at the second click, you're like, Nkem, I don't need to do this anymore. Or turn up your notifications or put your phone in another room when you want to study. But your environment should make your choices so easy. And so what is one thing that you could remove from your environment right now that would make success just really easy? So I told you to grab that notebook, right? If you have it pulled out or in the chat, I want you to just audit your environment, right? The spaces that will either make or break your 2025 goals. For each of those spaces, identify what's currently happened and what needs to change for automatic success. As I'm talking to you, I want you to realize that this isn't theory. This is transformation by design. You're literally deciding, I'm going to do this. These are the steps I'm going to take to make it happen. So, I know that, like I said, we're kind of going through a lot, but just take down, jot down the key, the key ideas, the key big things that you want to accomplish in 2025. And it doesn't have to be 10 things. You start with small, you start with one, and then you add to that and you build to that. You build on that. Now, you can see how this all works together. Your identity drives your choices, and then your systems that you create make those choices automatic, and then your environment then makes those systems inevitable. When they start working together, that's when it gets really powerful, and that's when success happens. And I want you to free yourself. This is not about perfection. You're not going to get it right, but you're going to keep doing, you're going to keep trying. And it's about designing a life where success just becomes your default setting because you have set it up that way. Where transformation it's not something you do, it's something that just happens automatically because of the spaces that you created, because of who you've become, because of the systems that you have in place. Sometimes we look at other people and we're like, why are they successful? Success is not for the limited few. It's for all of us. But these are the actions that you need to take to make it happen. So I shared this framework with you, right? And I really want to bring it to life in a real life example. When I founded Phoenix Capital, raising $2 million, it seemed like an impossible dream. Like, it seemed like, how can me, an ER physician, empower others to build wealth together? 1 million sounded like 500,000 sounded impossible, but 2 million sounded like just unimaginable. But through our newest investment opportunity, Grove Park View, right outside of Atlanta, Georgia, in Gwinnett County, I learned the power of this framework firsthand. I saw it work. I started with a clear goal in mind. And my goal was, I'm going to help 25 busy professionals build wealth through real estate investing. Simple, right? That was just it. I was like, that's going to be my goal. But then I started implementing this framework, and it really came to life, and I saw transformation. So instead of me chasing numbers, I first of all transformed my identity. And I said, I am a wealth creator. And I'm not just a real estate investor. I'm not just a physician. I told myself that I am a wealth creator. And it is in that new identity that then I started building systems. And for me, the systems look like weekly educational webinars that shared, real estate insights about Grove Park View, about, just financial literacy, really just pouring back. And that was part of the system that I created. And then I took it a step further, and I started having, personal consultations with all my investors to really understand their professional goals. And then from that, I built it. And then we just started having regular updates, which helped really build trust. And then I started creating simple, clear processes of, when we purchase a property, what that looked like, even with busy schedules, how they would start creating wealth. And then I built strategic partnerships with, with CPAs, with our self-directed IRA custodians, so that I would make it seamless for our investors who were ready to invest, ready to build wealth. But then the real magic happened in the environment that we built. We built a community of forward-thinking professionals who were ready to start getting passive income, to start building wealth outside of their 9-to-5. And so investors started sharing their stories, started sharing their journey, and the support system was there. We all realized that we were in this together, but we needed that environment to help us know that we're going to invest, we're going to build wealth, through real estate investing. And today, that looks like 37 investors and growing. You know, we're still, even as of last week, I got another investor who's like, I'm ready to invest in Grove Parkview. And I have over $2 million in commitments. And even more than that, we have a thriving community of wealth builders. It's not just about numbers. It's not even just about numbers anymore. It's about transformation. You know, if I can go from just dreaming and saying, I'm going to help 25 professionals, 25 busy professionals, to building $1 million community of wealth creators, like who were like, yes, we're going to do this together. So can you. And this is the exact same framework. This is a framework I used when I didn't even know it was a framework, to now that I really know it is. And this is how the vision really becomes victory. And so, keep going. Okay, so I want to show you something that will change kind of how you think about achievement. And we just put in the chat, or you just saw a link about like joining our community. This is something that like is exciting to you. This is a path that you want to take to start building wealth. I say, join our community. One of us will be in touch with you. We'd be able to like, you know, figure out your goals and help you, you know, get on the journey of creating wealth. And it just starts with one decision, and that can be the decision that you make today. But I want to show you something that that will help you change how you think of achievement, right? So we've talked about the triangle. We've talked about the transformation triangle. But instead of waiting for a year to succeed, like what if we could collapse that time? What if we could achieve more in 12 weeks than most people do in, let's say, 12 months? And this is where everything we've discussed like now becomes a reality, right? So 12 months seems so far away, December 2025, and it's easy to lose sight of our goals when the deadline is that far. But what if we start thinking about our goals in like quarters, right? 12 weeks instead of 12 months. So I think right now I'm going to drop I'm going to tell you how to get to it, but I created a 12-week, 90-day success blueprint, and it will just help you bring all of this to life. So if you are on your phone, on the bottom, I want you to click more. There's going to be a more at the bottom, and then click handout. And I think it should be there. And it's the 90-day success blueprint. But if you're on your computer, if you click apps on the bottom right, and then click handouts, it should be there. But there are a few things that we're going to be sharing tonight, but the 90-day success blueprint should be available to you. And if you go, if you find it, just let me know if you see it in the comments, if you see it or if you grab it. So it's a busy, can't see it yet. Okay, so I think I will make sure that it goes on, but you can still keep writing. So if you don't see it, just let me know. If in like 2 or 3 minutes, it should pop up. No files yet. Okay. David and Donna, thank you. It's going to pop. It's going to be there in a second. But this is how, and if someone checks again, just let me know if it comes up. Not yet. Okay. Just popped up. Great. I knew it was going to come up very soon. But so as you look at that, right, that is how transformation becomes real. We start with a 90-day outcome. So whatever your 90-day goal is, and then start reverse engineering it to exactly what needs to happen each month, each week, each day. Perfect. Alice got it. Great. So when I was building my real estate portfolio, right, that's when everything changed. So instead of this like weird, big yearly goal, I had clear daily actions, and those actions started compounding to extraordinary results. You have the framework. Now it's just a matter of like breaking it down into daily actions. And then those daily actions, you know, it's daily steps. And then you do weekly planning. So think maybe Sunday night, every Sunday night, you can think about, you know, spending an hour or two and just plan out your week in line with your 90-day goal or your quarterly goal. And then your monthly reviews, and then you break that down into weekly planning and then taking daily steps. So that's what that looks like. And this is like the start to creating something really amazing. I just want to real quickly touch on this, right? That first hour when you wake up, it like determines how everything will follow. And when you transform your morning, you're going to really transform your life. And I want to tell you, I want to free you. It's not about perfection. It's all about progression. It's all about progress. And if you start designing your morning, you will make success automatic. So you just implement it into your big plan and your big goal. So the secret to like achieving more in less time Instead of working longer, I want you to start thinking, I want to work smarter. So think about your highest impact work with your highest energy time. When I started building Phoenix while working in the ER, this helped me because it changed everything. I knew that I couldn't work more hours, so I had to make every hour count. I would use this timer. I kid you not, this timer right here. It would make noise because it's on, but I had this timer, and I would, when I needed to do deep focus work, because I knew I didn't have a ton of hours in a day after working full time, I would really spend time and do the work that will move me forward. So that looked like, that looked like 90-minute sprints with some time, with extra time, to like relax, to read, to go grab something to eat. But that's when I started using your time. So as you start thinking about your 90-day plan, break it down even into as small as your 60, your first 60 minutes, and then the power hours in the day. So this is where, like, most people will miss the opportunity for exponential growth. You will plan, you will act, but you won't measure and you won't adjust. So what's fascinating about success, and I can't remember who said it, but it's like success leaves clues. So when you learn to read those clues, and you can accelerate your results dramatically. And so when you start measuring, start everything that you do, start measuring, start seeing how it works, start tracking everything. And that's what that could really look like. So I want to explain to you, when it comes to starting to track, most people, they will focus on the lagging indicators. So like the results that come at the end. So like a lot of you are like, I want to lose 50 pounds. I want to raise $5 million, whatever that goal is. I want $100,000 in passive income, right? That is a lagging indicator, because that's a goal that comes at the end. Imagine what real transformation would look like if you track leading indicators. That looks like the daily actions that you create every day to get those results. That's why when you go back to like your 90-day success blueprint and that framework, the daily actions are just as important as your 90-day goal. And when I transformed my health, right, I stopped obsessing about the scale, and I started tracking daily movement, meal prepping every Sunday, sleeping better. When I stopped obsessing about like how I would help 25 busy professionals build wealth, and I started providing significant value through education, the results started coming. And that's because I started focusing on the leading indicators to help me get to my goal. And I started measuring and I started tracking everything. If the end goal is all that you think about, you're going to miss the daily actions. You're going to miss the things that you need to do in order to secure the goal. So I have these, I had these templates created because I want you to start tracking. I want you to start measuring everything, and I want you to start writing it down. Now you can see kind of how everything works together, right? Your identity drives your choices. Your systems make those choices automatic. Your environment makes success inevitable. Like, there's no question about it. That is exactly how it starts happening, is that as you sit down, as you think, it's your identity, and then your systems, and then your environment. If you do that, you're just simply designing your life, designing the life that you want. And that's how you need to start thinking as we get into 2025. And I'm really excited about it. So real quickly, we're going to start wrapping up. I want you came here, you spent an hour with me. I want to show you exactly what the next 72 hours of your life could look like to make this real, right? Transformation, yes, it's December, but transformation doesn't have to start next week. It doesn't have to start next month. It starts the moment that you leave this, this webinar, this masterclass tonight. It starts with the decision that you're making, and you're saying, I'm gonna make a decision to start, I'm gonna make a decision that this is gonna start today, not tomorrow, not next week, not January 1st, today. So another framework that I'm going to post is a 72-hour implementation guide. And right now you don't have it, but you have access to it. The same place I showed you, it should pop up. Give it a second. You might see that. It might already be there, but if not, it's coming. But use that to create your own framework. So what could the next 72 hours look like as you start thinking about your big goal, your big idea? And this is where I think that this is where a lot of people miss the opportunity for real change, right? They wait for the perfect time. And so some might be stroke of midnight on the 31st, but what I've learned is that the perfect time is right now. Collins, it should be coming up soon. But if not, just like remember what you wrote, you can print it. It should be there soon. The 72-hour blueprint, it should also be there. But so as you have your notebook and you've been writing, what did Javen said, Ed Milet, make a decision, flood yourself with certainty, take massive action. Agreed. So like I said, I know all of you have been writing down, you have your notebook, you have your pen and paper. I want us to design the next 72 hours for maximum impact. So start with the first hour. So if you want to do it tonight, great. But if you want to do it tomorrow morning, great. But what is your new identity statement? We thought about it before, but write it down, take action, make it powerful, make it present tense. I am. Whatever it is, I want you to like decide to lean into this new you that you want, this new goal that you're setting, and write it. I am whatever that thing is. I want you, whatever that person, whoever that person is, that's who I want you to write down. And what is that daily affirmation that supports your identity? And then what is one success trigger that will help you set up your plan as you're starting? Javen said, I am organized. I love that. So what is that one success trigger that you set up today that will help you? So as you think about the first 24 hours, what is your new identity statement? What is that daily affirmation that will support this new identity? And what is one success trigger that you will set up that will help you? And when you look at the next 24 hours, this is where success becomes automatic, right? So write down your morning routine. What time will you start? What 3 actions will you take at first? What are those 3 actions that you will take to get you started? I want to repeat that, right? So in the next 24 hours, write down your morning routine. What time you'll start, what 3 actions you'll take first, and then go from there. And then next, think about how you will track your progress. Has everyone seen the 72-hour worksheet? I think it should be up by now so that you can see and kind of think through how I'm thinking through this. But the next one would be like, how would you track your progress, right? Write down, got it, perfect, great. Write down a simple tracking system. Remember I told you what gets measured gets improved. That's how you have to start thinking about it. So write it down right now. If it comes to mind, jot down something, but this is how it starts. And then who will be your accountability partner? Write their name down, and when will you connect with them? This is so important. Who is holding you accountable? Who is helping you grow? Who is going to help you take your goal to the next level? So we did the first hour, we did the next 24 hours, and then the next 72 hours. What does that look like? This is the environmental transformation. What do you need to clear from your workspace? Who do you also need to clear from your workspace? Write it down. Where will you set up your success stations? Be specific, what goes where? What do you need to take out? What do you need to put? Last, but probably just as important is what 3 friction points do you need to remove from your environment? What is hindering you from succeeding? That you need to do. And a friend recently said that when they drink alcohol, it kind of not even a ton, but it clouds your judgment, right? The next day. That is a friction point that needs to go away. And for that person, that is their friction point, and that might not be for you. But as you sit down, what is it that you need to take away in order to improve your environment? Javen said, my wife, I love that as your accountability partner. That is great. And so that's what you need to start thinking about. And as you look at this paper or your phone, look at what you've created, right? This is not a someday plan. This is the next 72 hours. This is what transformation looks like. This is how it's going to start. And you are doing it today. So kudos to you. And so this is where intention becomes commitment, right? Look at your 72-hour blueprint. If you've written it, or if you're going to do it tomorrow, what is one action that you'll take? If you would love to share it in the chat, I would love to hear it. I want you to be specific. So instead of writing I'm going to start working out say, I'll set up my morning launch pad tonight. I'll grab my clothes, my journal, my water. I'll text my accountability partner when I get back from the gym. Like, I want you to like just think about what is one important action that you are going to take, whether it's today, whether it's tomorrow. I would love to hear that from you. And just kind of as you're thinking about creating your 72-hour blueprint, your the next step that you're taking, if you jotted anything down, just toss it in the comments. I would love to just like hear what people are thinking, what commitment they want to take. And this is like, I want you to know that this is what transformation looks like in real life. This is you deciding that like, I'm going to start today. The easy thing for us to do is to be like, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll do it next week, or I'll do it when I have some time. But imagine if you just decided that like, I'm going to do this today. I'm going to start. Javen said, discuss my transformation triangle with my wife and ask her to hold me accountable. Love that. And that is the first step that he's going to take in order to like grow, and in order to like leap and fly and like really win 2025. Donna's typing. I'm excited to see what she's going to say. But I want you to know, like, this isn't about motivation, right? This is about commitment. Each of these commitments that like you're making, whether you're writing it down, whether you're thinking about it, it represents a choice. It's a choice to make 2025 different. So I want you to like make it really, really count. And it starts today. Like, it starts with just like sitting here. You're here, you've committed, you've spent an hour with me. So like share. Chi says, start small by reading 20 to 30 every morning and journaling after that. It usually puts me in a motivational mood. I love that. So, and this is what I love about transformation, right? It starts with one decision, one single action, one simple moment where you say enough to the old ways and yes to who you're becoming. Because I think that's the most important thing that we miss out. She said, delete Twitter. Well, see, that's the start. That's what you're saying enough with the old you, and you're saying yes to who you're becoming today. So as we wrap up, and as we close, I want you to think about something powerful, right? LinkedIn is better anyways. So I want you to think about something powerful, and I don't want to lose sight of this. A year from now, you will look back at this moment, and this will either be the moment that changed everything, or this would just be like another masterclass webinar that you attended. The choice is yours. But let me show you how to make this a movement that changes everything, right? So as we close, I want you to think about something that is just like, that is very, very powerful. And as you're thinking, the choice is 100% yours. And here is what's fascinating about like those transformation moments. They all share one thing in common. It starts with one decision. It starts with a line in the sand. It starts with that moment that you say enough to the old way and yes to who you're becoming. Right now, in this moment, you have that choice. You can either close and end and go back to life as usual, but the choice is yours and yours alone to make. What will you do? Will today be the day that you say, I'm going to start, I'm going to create my transformation triangle. I'm going to create a new identity. I'm going to build my systems, and I'm going to transform my environment. Like I said, the choice is yours and yours alone. So I want to say thank you. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for engaging. Y'all were amazing in the chat, in the comments. And thank you for committing to your transformation. I want to make sure that like you have complete clarity on implementing everything that we've covered. So if you have any questions at all, drop it in the chat, drop it in the comments. It's like just anything at all. I'd love to help you. But one more thing. Before we wrap up, you're very welcome. I'm so glad that y'all stayed till the end and that this was very helpful. So before we wrap up, right, I want to share something special with you. Today, we laid the foundation, and the foundation was like transforming how you're going to approach your 2025 goals. But I know that many of you are seeking a deeper transformation. I've talked to some of you personally. And as I was creating this and putting this down, it dawned on me like, this is truly the foundation, and I want us to build on this. So I am excited to announce the Expansion Blueprint series, and that starts in January. And it's a free, exclusive 4-part series, and it will take everything that we have covered today and it will expand it into a complete framework. And the idea is that, like, that is what is going to help you break free from, the traditional success traps, and to really create a truly expansive, a full life, which is what like you and I really want. So if what we did today resonated with you, if you felt the spark of possibility, I don't want you to miss out on this opportunity, because it has like really radically changed my life. Like who I am today, speaking to you, sharing this, it's because of these frameworks that I have built and the foundation that I've created and how I've implemented it in my life. So I'll be sending out all the details within the next like 2 weeks or so. But for those of you who are ready to like spend 4 weeks in January with me, building our expansive lives, the QR code is on the screen and the link just got dropped. So just like scan the QR code, it's some basic information so that I will let you know when this starts, the exact date, the time, and we'll be hanging out just like we did here. Again, like I said, it starts in January, and I would love for us to just come together and really get on this transformative journey and grow together. My growth, like my win, like your win is my win and my win is yours. And it's really cool if we get to grow together. So lastly, I want to say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for giving me this opportunity to spend this hour and 10 minutes with you and kind of just sharing something that has transformed my life. And I really hope that like you will take this and start implementing it so that we can all grow and win together. So I'll open up the floor for questions. Oh, Tavichi, hi. I will open up the floor for questions. If anyone has any questions at all, please let me know. Hi, Pastor Edmund. You're welcome. Thank you. God bless you too. Please share the recording. Amelia said, "Don't worry, I got you. You will get the recording as quick as tomorrow, or maybe the day after, but you will definitely get the recording within 48 hours." And if anyone, I'm just gonna like hang out for a second. I'm gonna hang out for a second. If anyone has any questions, I'd love to answer them. Everyone says thank you. You guys are all welcome. Great information. Awesome. Okay. Well, if there are no questions, Faith is typing. Oh, 2 people are typing. Okay, I'll just wait. I'll hang out a little bit. Dr. Amelia, you're welcome. Do these more often. Many can benefit. Done. Absolutely. 100%. I'm committed. I've seen how it has truly impacted my life and the growth, and I definitely want others to embark on this journey with me. You're welcome. Okay, so I think we're done. Everyone, thank you so much again for time. What do you do apart from working out? Okay. Antonia asked the question, what do you do apart from working out to lose weight? Okay, so I will share. Good night, Antonia. I'll share that with you. So for me, I did a few things, right? So working out is important, but eating is way more important. And so I really realized if anybody tells you weight loss, 80% food and maybe 20% exercise. So a lot of the work came in exactly what I put into my body. I became someone who, I took on the mindset that like I am healthy, and that became important to me. So I cut out a lot of sugar. I replaced one meal. I did a smoothie for one meal, usually lunch. And I did like a high protein, low carb diet. And for a season, I did intermittent fasting when I could do it with my life. It worked for me. But those are the things like I focused on food, and then heart healthy. I wanted to like exercise. I enjoy exercising. For me, it's a little bit of a stress reliever. So I just like doing it. So that's kind of but if you want more information, I will kind of help you out. Like if this is something that you're like, I want to take this on this year, I can help you out with it and kind of give you some more details. Oh, there's a question in the comment section. Okay, great. You asked it. Perfect. Okay, great. He just moved it over there. Okay, sweet. Okay, so if that's it, but like I said, I would definitely, I'll reach out. I got you. Okay, awesome. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful evening, and thank you again for spending this evening with me. Good night.